Welcome back. Today is the 50th anniversary of the passage of Title IX, that landmark legislation that prohibits discrimination based on sex in education programs or activities that receive federal financial assistance.
It did mark the beginning of a new era for women and sports, but today it's also become a flashpoint for both sides of the debate when it comes to the role of transgender women in sports.
Well, NBC's Hallie Jackson joins us now with the story and is right here. Hallie, good morning.
It's great to see both of you, Hoda and Savannah. You know, there's sometimes this sense that Title IX is about history, about the past. But the families and athletes that we've talked with say it is an active fight now, a personal one, centered around the rights of transgender women and girls in sports.
Snowflake of
9-year-old Kieran Clausen collects crystals. She dabbles in face paint, and she loves sports.
What do you play?
I did play volleyball, soccer, and I want to play basketball.
To Kieran, who's transgender, it's not about racking up victories.
I don't want to win any trophies for it, though. I feel like that's the most unfair way to compete because it's not about winning.
What's it about?
Having fun with your friends.
But next week, her state, Indiana, will ban trans girls like her from playing girls' sports, joining at least 15 other states with similar laws. Now, the Clausens' only hope is that the courts will step in.
It's tough. It's hard to do everything that you can to support your child and then and then have lawmakers come in who don't know anything and say that you're doing the wrong thing for your child. It's really hard.
It's very personal. The lawmakers are attacking one of the smallest minorities that we have.
Title IX is so important to our family, and it's not just for sports. It's so that she is not discriminated against because of her identity.
50 years ago today, Title IX became a landmark law banning discrimination against women and girls in most schools. But the fight now centers around whether that federal right should extend to transgender students.
It's very sad that Title IX has kind of been warped to include biological males when it should be protecting biological females.
Chelsea Mitchell is one of 4 student athletes suing the Connecticut Association of Schools, now appealing the case's dismissal, arguing the state violated their Title IX protections by letting trans girls compete against them at track meets.
From the moment I stepped foot on the track in my first race, I fell in love with the sport.
What about young transgender girls who are also falling in love with track? Should they be denied the same experience that you've had?
Everyone deserves the opportunity to compete. It just needs to be done where it's most fair, and women's sports need to be kept as women's sports.
This week, swimming's global governing body effectively banned trans women from competing in women's events, only letting swimmers compete in them if they transitioned before age 12. The decision coming just a few months after Leah Thomas made history as the first trans woman to win an NCAA swimming championship.
It is a policy that we need to introduce in order to protect the competitive fairness of our event.
LGBTQ advocacy groups slamming swimming's latest move as discriminatory, as some of the sports world's biggest superstars, like Billie Jean King and Megan Rapinoe, work to fight anti-trans laws, like the one about to go into effect in Indiana, where the Clausens live. We told Rapinoe what Kieran told us.
She just wants to play with her friends. What's your message to her?
Oh, gosh, we're with you, and it's like emotional to think about. I mean, this kid's, so young. She just literally wants to play with her friends.
For Rapinoe, it's personal.
God forbid a trans person excel in sports. I would rather have that than have kids committing suicide. I would literally give up everything that I've ever achieved for not one of these kids to feel what they're feeling.
Kieran seems undeterred with a message now about her journey.
Never stop being you. That's it.
Never stop being you.
There's so many kids that don't even have the opportunity to express who they really are. We are acknowledging more people as who they are than taking something away from somebody else.
The Biden administration is expected to issue a new regulation, several months delayed now, which would reportedly shore up protections for transgender students under Title IX. But if that happens, it is all but certain to set up a legal fight with some of these states that are moving to keep trans girls out of girls' sports.
Yeah, it's a complex issue for sure. Hallie, thank you very much.
Hallie.
Good to have you.